Well, it just gets curiouser and curiouser as we see Tesla bounding up again, another $14 this morning a share. Of course, we did have that $8 sell-off near the end yesterday, dropping it from 16 to only an $8 gain yesterday, but I'll still take $22 in 2 days. We'll see if the stock holds up during the rest of the day, but you're beginning to see that, Tesla is in a world of its own. Pretty much since the earnings call, Tesla has been not reflective of what's happening in the overall macro market. It's been going down on up days and up on down days. Today, the market is responding pretty well to the PPI number. We'll take a look at that later. But yeah, it's good. It's good news. Speaking of good news, today's video might be just a little bit shorter than normal. I had to get up super early to do a video with AJ. That'll be on tonight at 7:45. Well, maybe not. It'll be on well, kind of depends on what Cern has to say. I'm going to have to balance between Cern and AJ for tonight, and then the other one will be on Friday night. I can tell you right now that the AJ video is incredibly good, so he might end up usurping Cern's time tonight, and then it puts Cern on tomorrow night instead. So we'll see. But yeah, the AJ story with regard to first quarter profits, with regard to the full year, with regard to the robotaxi rollout, all of that, very, 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 very interesting. All right. So Dan Ives still believes that Musk's Washington relationship will yield benefits for the automaker. He says the deregulatory landscape in the Beltway will lay the groundwork for the federal autonomous roadmap, which we believe unlocks $1 trillion of valuation alone for Tesla over the coming years, he wrote earlier today. So then from Barron's, this is the morning briefing. They say that Ives, going on with Dan Ives some more, he rates Tesla stock a buy with a 550 price target. Wow, goodness, I have a incoming call here. Of course, it was not a call, a real call. Ives rates Tesla stock at a buy with a 550 price target. That values Tesla at about 1.8 trillion. Morgan Stanley analyst Adam Jonas also rates shares a buy, and he's got it at $430 a share. Tesla is well positioned, according to Jonas, in the metamorphosis of the U.S. manufacturing in the AI era. He says the data is defining the software. Software is defining the hardware, and hardware is defining the manufacturing. He views Tesla as a vertically integrated AI play. He says Tesla has millions of cars on the road generating data, which can then develop the software to make cars drive themselves. He also has Tesla also has the manufacturing expertise to build the cars. To be sure, these are two bulls. They're convinced Tesla is far more than a car company. Their target prices for Tesla average $490, while the average analyst is only at $381, but 381 is a good number, according to FactSet. All right, then this from Herbert Ong this morning. He says that Elon Musk is at the Dubai World Government Summit for 2025, and he's talking about Grok. He says Grok 3 has very powerful reasoning capabilities. In the tests that we've done so far, Grok 3 is outperforming anything that's been released that we're aware of. It'll be out in a couple of weeks' time. And he says after that, he doubts anything will ever be as good as Grok after that. So a couple of weeks, we get Grok 3. We'll see if we have some brand new fun things to play with. Raj Jagannathan. Raj Jagannathan, he goes by _JEGAA, _JEGAA, if you want to follow him. He says, replying to Herbert Ong, the voice AI agents integrated with internal apps will provide personalized interaction. Coming soon. So people will be able to integrate their conversation, be able to have a real conversation with their car. All right, so this is, of course, way up on my list of what I want to see happen. Looks like that is coming very, very soon. By the way, this is Randy Kirk. Hit like, subscribe, and notify. What we will have for sure later, well, nothing's for sure, but probably at about 5 o'clock, 5:15, we'll have the regular Bradford Ferguson coming on tonight. I think that's going to be a very, very interesting show. And like I say, it's kind of between Cern and AJ for the 7:45 show. And what else do I need to tell you about that? I guess that's all. And then, joining Patreon. Come on, guys, help out, help out, help out the production, contribute. Anyway, Barron's also says this about the wholesale inflation numbers today. They remained hot in January. A day after the consumer prices rose by more than expected, the Federal Reserve is on hold with interest rates moving, not good on the producer price side either. The producer price index increased by 0.4%. That's 5% a year. That's the what do you want to call it? The headline number. The Bureau, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that was above economics 0.2% consensus estimates, so double what they were expecting, and compares with a revised increase of 0.5% in December. So December was revised up to 0.5, and now we got 0.4. Not good. But the markets didn't seem to be phased. The PPI was 3.4 higher than a year ago versus a 3.5% rise in the year through December. So that was actually directionally good to see the year annualized number come down. The core PPI, which excludes food and energy prices, ticked up to 0.3% in January. That matched expectations and down from the 0.4% rise in December. So the sub-index was 3.6% from a year earlier. So you got a 3.6 year on year, I think, which was also expected. The January wholesale inflation data confirm a hot start to the year on the inflation front following Wednesday's consumer price index. The BLS shows a 0.5 rise in the CPI last month. I already said all that. Why did they repeat it? Let's see. We know that the Fed has a 2% expectation. Economists tend to pay close attention to several components of the PPI basket that translate into the PCE. These include financial services, airfares, and medical services. Price increases there were largely tamer than the headline index. Prices for airline passenger services fell 0.3% after a 5% rise in December. What? Anyway, but we saw those airline fares go up in the CPI. So that was something that followed last month's PPI, and that makes sense. Portfolio management costs rose 0.4%. Medical services categories were mixed, with dental care prices up about 1.5%. Physician care and hospital outpatient care services declined slightly. Other categories with major price moves in January included eggs. Really? Diesel fuel up 10%. That'll come back down. Traveler accommodations up 5.7%, and fresh and dry vegetables, which fell 22%. Wow. Energy prices overall were up 1.7%. Of course, we already know that's falling again today, as you'll see in a minute. Like in Wednesday's CPI report, the BLS updated its seasonal adjustments with the January PPI data with tweaks to the past several years of data. The sharpest revisions were for December. The PPI was up 0.5% during the month compared with the 0.2% initially reported. The core PPI was up 0.4%, which was little, which had last month said little changed. So that is a massive change also. Yeah, I know. So I read a whole big article yesterday. I think it was in the Atlantic of all places, talking about how bad the government stats are and how unreliable they are. Trending, they suggested at the end of the day that you could count a little bit on the trends, but not on the raw data. In the weeks ended February 8th, the advanced figure for seasonally adjusted initial claims was 213,000. That's a decrease of 7,000. So right in the same range as it's been for months and months and months. The total number of continued weeks claims, though, were up yet again. So those were up, gosh, how come? Oh, it was 85,000. Yeah, those have been going up every week. That's a little bit concerning. If you've got inflation and continuing claims going up, that's a bad combination. What we've kind of been speculating is that Elon and the president have been left, President Trump, have been left with kind of a difficult situation here, but I think they're attacking it well. And the Rasmussen report says this morning, he says, How important is it? He asked the question, they asked the question, how important is it to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government? Very important. 56% of the people said very important. Somewhat important, 26%. So 80 something, 82% think it's super important or very important. And then not very important, 10, and not at all important, 5, and not sure, 3%. And those were the votes of Democrats. No Republicans in those numbers. So 82% of Democrats thinks it's either very or somewhat important to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse at the government level. So that's good news. We're glad to hear that everybody thinks it's really smart to reduce the spending of the federal government, especially the part that's waste, fraud, and abuse. I think it's important to reduce some of the rest. All right, so looking at the numbers, what we have here, believe it or not, Tesla is now up 1783, pretty darn close to 18. It's just like this. It's a rocket ship. So it has recovered, I guess. The buyers have taken over. The bulls are done. I called that, what did I call that yesterday, 2 days ago? I think I said that it looked like it might have been exhaustion on the part of sellers, and that maybe it was capitulation even. And I don't know, but because there was high volume and a large drop in a good market. So doesn't that sound like the definition of capitulation? So anyway, but we're now 1831, just in the few seconds since I asked that, since I started talking about it. We got the Dow up 105. We've got the NASDAQ up 166. We got the S&P up 29. So all of the indices are looking nice this morning. By the way, the Boring Company just got a deal with the Dubai Loop, kind of like the Las Vegas Loop. So Dubai Loop will be starting. So good for the Boring Company. We've got all the Magnificent Seven, except for Microsoft, up now. They were mixed earlier, but now all up. But Microsoft is down $1. Everybody else doing well. And then the Cathie Woods are all up, except for CRISPR. And it's actually moving towards the green. And so, yeah, everybody's feeling in good mood this morning. The percentages would be the Dow is up 0.24, the NASDAQ up 0.85, and the S&P up 0.50, right in the middle of those two. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bonds this morning, which had remarkably dropped. So I guess the bond market has decided, maybe they're deciding, the only thing that could make any sense out of the bond market right now is even looking at CPI and looking at PPI, they have decided that the Doge thing is going to be real. The Republicans are going to back them. The courts actually backed them yesterday. So some of the things that they've done already are going to take place. The Democrats are screaming and yelling, but the screaming and yelling isn't going to change anything. These fraudulent payments are going away, no matter what the Democrats in Congress say. And it looks like their constituency believes that this Doge group is doing a good job too. Hopefully, this is eventually going to, make Elon look good, and maybe that's part of why the market is up right now. I'm sorry, the value of Tesla is up right now. So the 10-year is down 8.7 basis points, back to 4.547. Love to see it go back under 4.5. It doesn't look, I don't think that'll happen today, but it's down 8.7 on this day after that PPI report. Looking good. 2 years down 4.8, and the 1 month is unchanged this morning. Let's go look at the oils. We have got oil is only down a nickel now. It had been down more. So they're saying that the Ukraine peace talks, which are breaking out with a goal of April 20th ceasefire, that conversation is now ongoing. It's talking about some of the peace talks taking place in Saudi Arabia. That'd be interesting on the Ukraine war. Maybe that'll be part of some other peace talks, maybe with regard to Gaza. Anyway, so oil down 9 cents at this point, 71.28. It had been down $1 or more. Brent down 23 cents. Natural gas up 4.57. So natural gas has been screaming upward again. We got 3 big fronts going across the United States right now, probably causing people to use gas more, natural gas more. But anyway, we're sitting at 372, which is still well down from the $4 and change that it was recently. Gold is rising this morning again, 29.46. It's up 18 bucks. Silver down a tad, down 0.4%, at 32.65, and copper up 0.69% at 4.73. Copper again staying in some pretty rich territory there. We've got the euro rising this morning. We've got the Bitcoin down 1,100 bucks at 96,081, staying very much in that range that it has been recently. Okay, I'm just looking in case I see, because I didn't have time. I spent an hour, actually an hour less on prep this morning because of the AJ interview, which was an hour. Okay, that explains it. But I'm pretty sure I caught everything that was critical this morning. If you saw something that I missed, don't hesitate to put it in the description below. Again, we have Bradford coming up at about 5:15, roughly California time, and then either Cern's going to have to, he's going to have to put on his A game if he's going to beat out AJ for tonight. Listen, neither one, I'm sure Cern's will not be so newsworthy that it absolutely has to go up tonight. Same thing with AJ. It's not that newsworthy, but it's super, super important information for you as you continue to value your Tesla investment. So one of those will be up tonight. The other one will be up tomorrow night. And then last night, very, very, very good interview with Brian Wong. An excellent, I mean, amazing interview with Jeff Lutz. Both cards will be up. If you didn't watch, Jeff already got thousands and thousands of views last night. The Brian Wong interview didn't get as many views, and you should watch it. It was really, really, yeah. Anyway, it's up there, both cards. Hit Patreon. That'd be fantastic of you, and that'll be all I got for you this morning. We'll see you later today. It's been great talking to you.